The Last Duel follows two friends become rivals and enemies fighting to the death in what is effectively a trial by combat in order to prove the legitimacy of the claim of rape by one of their wives. Hello everybody, my name is Josh, your movie apprentice, and I'm getting to The Last Duel a lot later than most people. It's been through its theatrical run already. I finally managed to catch it pretty much on the last showing at my local cinema, and I definitely had to talk about this one because this is Ridley Scott well and truly back on form. This movie is broken up into three parts. After one stellar opening sequence, it is broken down into three chapters showing the truth from each main character's perspective. And it does a very good job of the theme of everyone being a hero in their own particular story. You get to the end and you believe that Alan Driver's character, who's the rapist, you believe that he believes that he did nothing wrong and everything was consensual. But the film does give that subtle touch that unapologetically says what the actual truth is. It is very much told to us through text in very bold font. This is the real truth, as much as the other two stories look like the truth from their perspective character. This is unquestionably the truth. So you could be in no doubt and no question as to what the actual truth of this story is. But before we get into the performances and these three stories, I have to really praise the opening. The way the opening builds up the tension for this duel, from these wide scaping epic shots to the montage of the two fighters getting geared up, seeing Jodie Comer's outfit being placed on as she is led to what is effectively the gallows as her life rides on this fight to the death. It does a great job of building the tension. If you went to this film blind, it sucks you in straight away. Ridley Scott has always been fantastic with that sort of stuff on a large scale. Think Kingdom of Heaven and Gladiator. It's a really well directed sequence. But yeah, get into the stories and the acting. The acting gets better with each subsequent story. In order, we have Matt Damon's character's perspective, then Ellen Driver's, then Jodie Comer's perspective, and each performance gets better than the last. Matt Damon does a solid job. Adam Driver is continuing to prove he's arguably one of the best actors working in Hollywood today. He is utterly brilliant and sucks you into his performance. Like, you would think he would be the twirly mustache villain, especially as he literally looks like a Captain Hook-esque character. But no, there are definitely elements to this character that have the purest of intentions, but he does do the monstrous act, so that removes any sympathy we might have for him, despite some of his more in the right moments against Matt Damon's character. And then Jodie Comer's character comes in for her time in the spotlight. For the most of the film, she's very much sort of a side character and a background character. But when she is brought front and center, she is given a lot more personality, and she uses that screen time to fantastic effect. You are genuinely uncomfortable in her aftermath. You believe her drive to not be silent on this. As much as everyone tries to silence her, she will never do so. And she demonstrates both strength and vulnerability beautifully in this. And I love how her story emphasizes the flaws in the previous two stories. It's a very well structured movie. Going into some negatives though. Going into the movie, I saw a lot of talk about Ben Affleck being fantastic in this movie, and I'm pretty sure everyone's saying that was just trolling because, oh my god, every time Ben Affleck was on screen, that would take me out of the movie constantly. His character is a very cartoony antagonist. I feel like they were trying to give Alan Driver some sympathetic elements to his character, so they had to put someone else as truly an a-hole that just turns a blind eye to everything next to him. And he just sucked me out of the movie completely whenever he was on. I don't feel like his character necessarily had to be as prominent as he did have to be in this movie. Like, clearly he was an important part of the story, but he could have been more of a background character as opposed to a focal point specifically in that middle part of the story. But this film is a long build up to a dynamic main event, and when we get to the duel, it lives up to expectations. It is unapologetically violent and very, very rough. I don't really know how to specify it. Usually, when people talk about medieval knights, it's all about shields and swords fighting for glory and honor. But when it came to the nitty gritty, swords and shields matter for nothing. People will use the dirtiest tricks in the book to try and get the victory. If I had to have one complaint about the duel, it would be the overall outcome. I felt like there was a way this could have ended. And when a certain thing happens, I figured that's exactly where it was going to go, but it didn't quite fully commit to that potential outcome. I get it was based on real events, and I don't know much about the real story, something I would need to look into a bit more. But if I could take any liberties, that would have been a nice liberty for them to take. If you are in the mood for watching an epic whilst dealing with a very uncomfortable subject matter, because the actual sexual assault scenes that you see twice, by the way, one from Andrara's perspective and one from Jodie Comer's perspective, they are very uncomfortable scenes, and you genuinely feel for the woman involved. You generally feel terror at just what's about to happen. You know what's coming, and you are dreading it throughout. I love the subtle differences between the two stories, though you have to be of a strong stomach to watch it. The movie does it as tasteful as it could do, it never glamorizes it. Even the one where the guy feels like he was right, it's never glamorized, it's never shot in a way that's promiscuous. It's very much shown as more of a horror scene as opposed to something that is very in bad taste. So before I get into my grade, if you like what you see on the channel so far, consider clicking that like button and subscribing to the channel for more reviews like this one coming all the time. Coming up on the channel, got a couple more BFI Film Festival reviews to get through. But until then, let's grade this movie, shall we? So overall, The Last Duel is a fantastic little movie. It is Ridley Scott back at his directing best. He's always been good at directing these medieval stories, and it dealt with the subject matter in the most tasteful way it could do in these circumstances. And whilst Ben Affleck can take me out the film considerably at times, it is very well paced, and the performances in this are outstanding, especially Jodie Comer, who should really get some awards nods for this, and possibly Adam Driver, though I feel like because of the role he plays, that will hurt his chances a little bit. So overall, I'm going to have to say that The Last Duel for me is a good cup of tea. So The Last Duel, have you seen it? If you have, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. If you like what you see on the channel, click the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep an eye out for more BFI content coming all the time. And until next time, everybody, my name is Josh. I have been Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you in the next video.